Hi everyone, welcome to today's video. My name's Stephanie and today we are back with another installment of my seasonal favorites. If you're relatively new to my channel, at the start or towards the start of every season, I will take an empty swatch wheel and fill it with 20 polishes in my collection, both new and old, that I basically want to wear in the coming months. So this is a first look at my summer wheel for 2026 and I am just so in love with it. So I will talk more about it at the end. For now, let me just show you my favorites. We are starting my wheel off this year with Cracked Polish's 90 Degrees. It is this super hot neon coral red kind of cream that came out a few months ago in their Summer Oasis collection. I feel like it's picking up very red on camera, but there is like this coral sort of quality to it. It is just so stunning, a super striking hot shade that I feel like is just so perfect, especially for the name. And of course it has a super lush creamy formula, perfectly opaque in 2 coats. Next, I have another corally shade, and this one is Holo Encryption Key from their Light Mode collection several years ago at this point. Sadly, this one was retired a few years ago, I want to say, and it's basically the reason that I picked it up. It always caught my eye, but I just never pulled the trigger, and I didn't want to miss out on it, and I'm so happy that I did grab it because it is just so beautiful. I obviously love corals, and I also love polishes with a gold shimmer, so any kind of combination just looks so stunning, like a hot summer sunset where the sky is on fire. Another coral shade that I have is Prism Parade's Watermelon Crush from their Sugar Rush collection a few months ago. This one is like a true neon coral, so unfortunately I am not able to capture it color accurate. It's picking up like very pumpkin orange, so it's a shame that the color is not right here, but it is just another quintessential summer shade, especially for being like a true neon. I just love it so much. I feel like it's a perfect pedicure color. This also had another really creamy, super pigmented formula that's basically fully opaque in 2 coats. And honestly, a special shout out to the rest of the Sugar Rush collection because if you're looking for neons, these are perfect. For my actual orange polish, I went with Uno Mas's Relit, which I just picked up. It is a super gorgeous orange with a gold fine particle magnetic shimmer. Even though this is a magnetic, I'm actually showing this unmagnetized because I just couldn't figure out how to magnetize it with the velvet effect, which is how I ideally would wear this shade again. It is just so beautiful, having the gold shimmer jump up to the top and then seeing that warm orange underneath. It doesn't look too bad here unmagnetized, it's just a little bit more flat than how I intend to wear it. Another recent shade I wanted to feature is Holo Creamsicle Coast, which just came out in their Coastal Cremes collection. And this one is described as a peachy yellow, which I just absolutely love. If you know me, you know that I love oranges, yellows, especially for the summertime. They are just so fun. And I feel like this is such a flattering combination of the 2 colors, being this warmer toned sort of yellow, but since it's so light, it's kind of like a neutral or a palette cleanser in a way, at least compared to the rest of my wheel. For my true yellow, I picked Cirque's Mango Jelly, which came out a couple of years ago. It's pretty much like a primary yellow jelly. Maybe there's like a little bit of warmth to it, but it is just so gorgeous. I love the color. I love the name because I love mangoes. It is just such a pretty shade. I know yellow jellies are not for everybody. I get it, but this one is for me. Moving on to the cooler shades in my wheel, the first one that I have is KBShimmer's Pull It Together, which I'm pretty sure I picked up last summer, but it came out in a previous spring collection in the last couple of years, and it's this super vibrant, almost neon lime green-ish leaning shade, or maybe green apple is like a closer shade to call it, but it's a beautiful, super sparkly, reflective glitter formula. I'm still very much much a reflective glitter lover, so I of course have to feature at least one on my wheel in the summer because the sparkle is just insane, and KBShimmer makes some beautiful reflective glitters. Some of them can be a little bit gritty though, so I might need to add some thinner to this before wearing it again. The other green that I have on my wheel is Cracked Polish's Birds of Paradise, which just came out in the Tropics collection. And this is just a super gorgeous, rich green cream. I feel like it reminds me of this lush foliage in like a tropical kind of island. I love it so, so much. And especially with the name, I'm like envisioning this beautiful Birds of Paradise nail art. So fingers crossed I can actually make that happen, but even on its own, it is so bold. Next, I picked out Holo Bonus Life, which came out in the Pixel Perfect collection last summer. Also, apologies, I forgot to actually record the application for the first coat, but here's what one coat looks like. And this is a super gorgeous, almost pastel teal color in their chunky glitter formula. I feel like this is such a perfect mermaid shade. It is so, so pretty, so sparkly, and I can't wait to use it in some mermaid nail art. A more recent blue that I wanted to feature is ILNP's Wavelength. This just came out in their Euphoric collection a couple of weeks ago, and it's another tealy blue jelly base that has a coppery orange shimmer and a ton of holographic sparkle. As a side note, this is picking up more blue on camera, but it is like a stunning teal turquoise kind of color. It is just so beautiful. I always love that sort of base color, or just blues in general, with an orangey, fiery shimmer. It just reminds me of the sun setting over water, and with all the holo sparkle, it is just so magical. Another sparkly blue that I have is Cracked Polish's Infinity Pool, which also came out in their Summer Oasis collection, the same as 90 Degrees. This one, if I remember correctly, was marketed or described as being a topper, but I actually really love how this looks built up on its own because, as you can see, it is super densely packed with all of these metallic and iridescent sort of flakies. The metallic flakes kind of have this darker cobalt blue color, but then the iridescent flakes are this brighter aqua shade. So it is just such a sparkly, magical blue, again, kind of giving me these mermaid vibes. I have another blue on my wheel. This one is Ave Skylight, which just came back a couple of weeks ago. It originally came out in a summer collection a few years ago, I want to say, and it's just a bold sky blue cream. Like, it's just so beautiful in its color, so simple. Like, if you couldn't tell, I love a good cream for summer, and I feel like this one just captured the color perfectly. Why yes, I do happen to have another blue cream on my wheel, and this one is OPI's Ringin' the Blue Year, which, if you couldn't tell by the name, did come out in a winter or holiday collection several years ago. So let's ignore that part. Obviously, I was just craving a bold cobalt blue shade. I obviously have a couple of other cobalt blues, but I really wanted something that was darker in color, that reminded me of like tile art, just something so beautiful, and this one just fit the bill. I feel like the perfect summer version would have been OPI's Mi Casa es Blue Casa. Moving on to my purples, the first one I have is ILNP's Remix from their Euphoric collection. This was love at first sight for me. I am obsessed with this color and this finish in particular. Like I already mentioned in my review video, I love how sparkly this is because it reminds me of their ultra metallics kind of finish, but without the actual metallics that make them tarnish. The flakes in this are kind of this silver to aqua iridescent flaky, and paired with the base, it's giving crushed seashell, mermaid vibes. I am so in love with it. Another purple I fell in love with was Cracked Polish's Vacation Mode from their In the Tropics collection. This one was more of a love at second glance maybe, because I normally just don't like or gravitate towards these kinds of colors that are between purple and pink, you know, this orchid lilac sort of shade. So it didn't stand out to me initially, but once I actually put it on for my swatch video, I was like, oh my god, this is so beautiful. It just stood out so nicely. I just needed to give it a chance and I fell in love. Next up, I picked out Morgan Taylor's Berry Juicy, which I recently shared on my channel. This just came out in their Keep It Juicy collection, which I believe are Morgan Taylor's very first jellies, and they are incredible. And I just really, really love this one. This is another one that just kind of took me by surprise because, again, I don't usually care for like magenta shades. I would rather just go for a classic hot pink or a different, more true shade of purple, but this one was just so beautiful and with a perfect jelly formula. And surprisingly, I have another magenta leaning shade. This one is Fauve's Crown of Flowers, which came out in their Frida Kahlo collection last year. This actually technically has more of like a red base, but because it has this more purpley toned shimmer, it just kind of looks magenta. So funny enough, it does look really similar to Berry Juicy here, but in real life you can see a bit more of a difference. Either way, it is a striking color, just so rich and bold and just what I'm craving for this season. Continuing on with my more pink shades, I have KBShimmer's Ferris of Them All, which I believe came out either last summer or just in a previous summer collection, but I only picked it up, I want to say last year in the fall. So I have been waiting to use this one. It's described as being a raspberry jelly base, which I love, and it is obviously packed with these rainbow iridescent flakes. It is so incredibly magical. I feel like flaky polishes are just so quintessential for the summer because, again, they just remind me of like crushed seashells or like, you know, mermaid tails. Oh, I love. Another pink on my wheel this year is ILNP's Playdate from their Splashed collection from, I want to say, like 4 years ago at this point. This is in one of their jelly hollow flaky finishes, which is my favorite from ILNP, so special shout out to just the whole Splashed collection. But you know, the pink one is my favorite. I would say that this almost has a more like watermelon color to it. It's a very pinky red shade, which I just love so much. It is so pretty. And last but certainly not least is Apocalypse's Time to Take Over the World from their recent Not a Kids Show collection. If I didn't already blind you with this one, this is a neon hot pink jelly base that is also filled with these super glowy blue cobalt kind of ghost flakes. Initially, when I saw brands describing these particular flakies as ghost flakies, I was like, okay, you know, they're just iridescent, but I think they're called ghost flakes because at certain angles they almost seem to disappear, so you don't really see them, but in other angles you see those pops of blue and it is just so beautiful, not to mention how eye-searingly gorgeous the base is. And here we're going back around my wheel, this time with a third coat on every polish and a glossy top coat so you can just see them in all their glory. I always love seeing my summer swatch wheels because they just make the most vibrant sort of rainbows. But as you can see, I have a couple of these like pops of darker, much more bold, saturated colors. So while they might sort of stick out from the wheel a little bit, I feel like they are still so beautiful and just fit really well together as a whole. And like in previous years, I feel like I have a pretty decent mix of the specialty finishes and creams. In general, I do prefer a more specialty finish for summer because with the sun out, it just looks so glowy and sparkly. But again, I love a good cream. I feel like it's just a nice palette cleanser in a way. And here is a look at the wheel zoomed out. I think it is so beautiful. And of course, like always, we are going to compare it next to last year's wheel, which at first glance might look kind of similar, but you might immediately notice that this year I don't have any of these lighter aqua or sky blue shades. Not to say I won't try to sneak one in this summer, but yeah, these are my wheels, so I'd love to know if you have a favorite between the two. So that wraps up my summer favorites for 2026. As always, I can't wait to hear what you think of my wheel. Here is another look at it. Like I already said, I think it is so beautiful. Obviously, this year I was just really gravitating towards such bold colors. I know compared to last year's wheel, the color palette is relatively like the same because, you know, if you've been watching a lot of my seasonal favorites video, I gravitate towards the same kind of shades, but just, you know, different finishes or undertones. But I feel like this year is definitely the boldest that I've gone for summer, which I know might sound like absurd or like dramatic or something, but I'm just really excited about these. I always love summer colors in general, whether they are kind of like bleached neon shades or like intense eye-searing neons, but I rarely go for these like slightly deeper, bolder kind of almost jewel tone colors in a way. So I'm sort of going out of my comfort zone, but like just barely, because again, these are definitely colors like I'm very excited to wear. So yeah, I can't wait to hear what you plan on wearing this summer season. If there are any favorites that we have in common, let me know down below so we can chat about it. But thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!